Welcome to the Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by Play Picks and the Lines. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by my guy Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And it's time for our favorite video of each and every weekday, that player props video. We are looking at a pretty big slate here, so a good amount to choose from on Tuesday night. Make sure you do like and subscribe to that page. Got a couple other videos up for you today, looking at the Lakers taking on the Bucks, as well as the Nets taking on the Celtics. So a couple of pretty good matchups there, and some player props we are looking at all over the board. As always, though, if you do still need a FanDuel or DraftKings account, head to fdpicks.com or dkpicks.com and find those listings in your area, such as what we've got for tonight's player props. Nate, let's get into it.
Yeah, we got big news here from Woj as we are about to record this episode. The Pelicans are flipping Josh Hart and other pieces to Portland for CJ McCollum and other pieces, and really just reinforces the first pick I had up here, which is Brandon Ingram. His props came up way too low against Houston tonight at 24.5 points or 30.5 points in rebounds. He just dropped 33 points and 12 assists on the Rockets 2 nights ago. Now playing at home. In 7 games since joining the Pelicans, he averages 28.5 points per game, 7.3 rebounds with a 128 offensive rating against these Rockets. Only a 28% usage rate, which has been higher lately in his last 10, up to 30%. And he's hitting those averages again, 24.5, 5.4 rebounds, 7.3 assists. With Hart out, his defensive rebounding rate is very, very high for a guard. Ingram's going to have to mix it up a little bit more for the boards tonight. Houston plays at the fastest pace in the league, so you got to love more rebounds when you have more possessions. Houston also allowing 119 points per game and a league-high 52% field goal shooting over their last 10. And the Pelicans have been money at home. Ingram going to lead the way for them. Absolutely. This is somebody you can rely on with that 30% usage rate, with his versatile mid-range game, his ability to get to the basket. I love this bet. I hit it as soon as it came up, and I think as long as it doesn't move too much, you should bet both of those, both the points and the points rebounds with a lot of confidence.
Yeah, BI has been the man since he came back from injury a while ago. And when you're playing a team like Houston, like you're really targeting them right now in every way, shape, or form. Like you said, the man just went off for 33 and 12 assists recently. No problem with either of those bets, the 24.5 points or the boards, as I think he'll get closer to 30 points tonight than he will 24 probably. So, yeah, I think we found some pretty good value with BI there. Man that I'm going to target his points tonight, finding some good value. I think as long as you can get Joel Embiid around 30 points for a prop, you got to feel good about that right now. He sits at 30.5 tonight against the Suns, who did pull out the win last night against the Bulls. They were cruising at one point up about almost 20 points, about 15, I believe, in the fourth quarter, even with 5-6 minutes left. The Bulls ended up coming back, winning by 3, or losing only by 3, as the Suns really needed to actually pull it out down the stretch, which is not something that they probably wanted when they're sitting on this 4-game stretch on the road, and now they've got to play Philly on a back-to-back here. Embiid against the Suns, probably at least in part due to the motivation he's receiving from playing against a guy like DeAndre Ayton, who's vying for a nod of top center in the league with him and Jokic and a few other guys. But it's motivation for Embiid, as we know. And his last 4 versus Phoenix with Ayton, 37 points a game, 15 boards, shooting incredible splits, 54, 46 from 3, and then 84% from the line, averaging, which is crucial, that 84%, because he's getting almost 13 free throw attempts a game in his last 4 against Phoenix as well. At home, he loves it, playing at home as well this season. 7 of his last 10 home games, 30-plus points. The only exceptions there were against Washington, who apparently is the kryptonite of Philly, as they've beaten them their last 2 meetings. And then the Lakers and the Celtics, 2 teams playing much better on defense and who have been slowing it down a bit as well. So point being, Embiid gets 30 points when he comes out at home almost all the time. Since Christmas, really, and another big sample size for him since he came back from injury, and really sort of taken over as the favorite for MVP or Embiid, 33.5 points on a league high 41.5% usage. And that's really what it comes down to for this team until the 76ers make a trade or move Sen Bimmons or something to that degree. You're going to keep seeing Embiid getting fed and fed and fed, and we'll keep taking that 30.5 points, which gets you about even money on FanDuel at -104. I love that.
You say Sen Bimmons?
Yeah, I'm not saying it. I don't say his name out loud. It's Sen Bimmons.
Oh, I like that. Let's get that trending then. Yeah. And Embiid, as you mentioned, those high profile matchups. I believe this will get him going against the Suns, and when he plays against the Western Conference in general, 32.5 points per game, his last 12, 40% usage rate. Ayton hasn't been active for all those games. I wonder if Ayton might be the guy to sit here on a back-to-back after the Suns play, in which case he gets to work on skinny JaVale McGee or Bismack Biyombo. It really doesn't matter who you throw at NBA. You can't stop him right now. And as long as the other team is scoring, he should get his 30. And that's why with the Lakers and Celtics, he only had 27 because the other team scored about 80, 90 points, didn't really challenge them as much. So sticking with the narrative here at the trade deadline, I'm looking at Magic players at Portland. The Blazers have lost 4 straight. They are dead last in offensive rating. And so new GM Joe Cronin has made it official that he's going to blow it up. He just traded CJ McCollum after trading Covington and Norman Powell. Larry Nance Jr. also out the door. So it's going to be a skeleton crew tonight at home against the Magic, a Magic team that's actually playing at the fastest pace in the league, allowing the most points per game in their last 4. So that just creates a lot of opportunities on both sides. And Cole Anthony is the guy they're trying to develop. He is the engine behind their offense. He had a dud against the Celtics team that we mentioned is rolling on defense right now. But in his previous 6, 17 points per game, 5 rebounds, 8.3 assists per game. And so his points prop is at 17.5 for even money. Or you can get about even money for 23.5 points assists. This is against a Blazers team that allows the 3rd most assists per game to point guards that gave up 137 points and 36 assists in their latest loss against the Bucks. And, Cole on the road has his offensive rating is actually 13 points higher, 109. He's averaging 19 points per game and 6.4 assists per game versus 16 and 5.5 at home. I actually like the player performance doubles for the Magic to win just because the Blazers are so shorthanded and they clearly understand now that they're going in a rebuilding direction. The Magic have been on that for a while now, and they've actually been pretty competitive recently. So Cole and 15 points in a win, actually below his scoring prop, is nearly plus 200. And you can get about the same prop for Franz Wagner, who also has about a 17-point scoring prop, and he's at plus 210 to get that done. I think both those guys will be able to get you 15 points. Just question, maybe Orlando pulls it out. I mean, it's a pick 'em line. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind taking Orlando against this team right now. I mean, Anthony Simons, I guess, will play pretty well for the Blazers tonight, but and it'll be his show from now on. Josh Hart, when he gets to the team too, friend of the show, love taking his rebound props. As we know, he won't be playing tonight. Either way, you mentioned Franz. Obviously, we love taking Franz. I do specifically, so I'm definitely going to look at him tonight. But Cole makes just as much, if not more, sense, to be honest. At 17.5 points, that's wild that you're getting even money there, and he averages more than that, especially at home. In this scenario. So lastly, going to another point guard here, Trae Young. We've targeted him before plenty. Actually got some pretty good value on his unders not that long ago, but he's not playing the Miami Heat or one of the best defensive teams in the league. He is playing the Indiana Pacers, who are somewhat in shambles as well. Just got rid of Karis LeVert, which doesn't really help their defense necessarily. It definitely diminishes their offense. But most importantly is that Trae's playing against them and has very good numbers. Already dropped 33 and 10 earlier this season, hit 3 threes in that one. So I'm looking at his points, feels very low with a solid return on your money, 27.5 points for him at minus 104 on FanDuel. He averages 28 points a game at home this season and 9 assists, shooting 45, 38 from the field and 90 on his splits there with a 35% usage rate at home, hits 3 for 8 3-pointers. So he hits 3 3-pointers at home on the season. All those props for him are lower than his averages at home playing against a bad Indiana team. 27.5 points. You can get over 2.5 threes made for him at minus 130. I feel very good about that one. If you want to get a little bit crazy to get some juice, 4 3-pointers and a win for Trae is plus 280 on your money, which feels like a really nice jump for him to just hit one more 3, because I do believe that the Hawks should handle this game at home as they're getting a bit healthier and playing much better there as of late. He also just loves playing against Indy. In his earlier this season, I just mentioned 33 and 10 assists versus Indy in his last 4. He's averaging 28. Getting over that point prop, 4.5 boards and 11.5 assists, getting to the line 9 times and hitting 8 out of 9 free throws, which is another thing that, Indiana, their defense, where are they bad? They give up the most points in the paint. So it's either going to be Trae hitting a 3 or Trae getting into the lane to either get a floater or feed Capella and Collins. And then they also are, bottom 10 in 3-point defense. With no no Brogdon tonight. This team is just really in shambles. And we mentioned the free throws. I just want to get that in there. They give up the third most free throw attempts a game as well. So all the points in the paint, all the free throws you could want, just spells great night for Trey and anybody that's catching a lob from him.
Yeah, I mean, you just kind of talked your way into it. It's actually the assists we should be targeting more than the threes here. True. Because I'm concerned about a blowout with Indy unable to score, and they should just kind of open the gates, let Trey get in there, hand out a bunch of dimes. We've seen him get like 15 dimes in the third quarter when the other team doesn't play any defense, and his prop is at 9.5 there. Yeah. The player performance double for 12 assists is also plus 280 in a win for the Hawks. So I like the points and assists personally. Trey's really been attacking more than he has been taking threes. I know lately he's ramped up the threes a little bit, but I think in this matchup, he'll be getting in the paint and handing out those dimes, which, as you mentioned, he averages over 11 recently against the Pacers.
Yep. And if you want to just split the difference between what we're saying here, 27.5 points feels wonderful. Also like the assist too. I should mention, 9 assists at home is the only reason I don't love the double necessarily. But yeah, I think, if he's getting into the paint and they're finishing like they should be, feel really good about all of trade tonight and the Hawks against the Pacers. So that is all the time we have for you today. We'll look to continue to stay above 500 on the week, well above 500 right now. I believe we're almost at 30 units since January 1st. So we'll look to stay sizzling hot with these player props for you guys. And until we see you next, happy betting.